Some men win you over with flowers, and some men win you over by grabbing you by the waist and moving you around like you're part of the decor. She complains, huffs, threatens to bite, and he finds it hilarious. Between samples, crises, and late nights, she'll realize the hardest part of this project isn't the hotel. It's her own heart. The yellowed magazine clipping escaped from Harper Reed's executive portfolio and fluttered to the floor, landing directly at the feet of the one man she'd hoped would never see it. She froze. The luxurious conference room of the Grandview Coastal Hotel, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Pacific, suddenly felt suffocating. Her assistant Maya chattered about fabric swatches, oblivious to the disaster unfolding. The man bent down with fluid grace, his tailored suit moving like second skin. Long, elegant fingers picked up the damning paper. Harper's heart hammered. He studied it, brow furrowing. The headline screamed, "The New Genius of Luxury Hotels," with a photo of 22-year-old Liam Ashford looking cocky in a black turtleneck. Now, at 35, he was devastatingly more attractive. His jaw could cut glass. Dark hair artfully tousled, hazel eyes holding wisdom that hadn't existed before, and those shoulders, broad, imposing, dangerous. "Interesting," his voice rumbled. "Is this me?" Harper's brain went blank. "I study successful entrepreneurs for corporate decoration," she blurted. "Psychology of success reflected in spatial design. Understanding the mindset helps create productive environments." He smiled, not politely, like a man who knew her explanation was ridiculous but was too well-mannered to say so. "Fascinating," he handed it back, fingers brushing hers. "I had no idea my 22-year-old self was research material. Very instructive. For spatial psychology. Obviously." Maya shot her a look. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Everything was wrong. If this story is touching your heart, show your support. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Every action helps us keep bringing you new stories full of emotion. When her business partner Rachel landed this contract, decorating the entire Grandview Coastal Hotel, Harper had been thrilled. Biggest project of her career. What Rachel hadn't mentioned was that the owner would be the man Harper had watched on TV at 15, whose magazine profile she'd cut out with embarrassing adolescent devotion, who she'd daydreamed about in geometry class. She'd outgrown that phase. Obviously. She was a successful 28-year-old businesswoman. She didn't have celebrity crushes, except her 15-year-old self hadn't gotten the memo about leaving evidence around. "Shall we begin?" Liam gestured to the presentation boards. He was ridiculously tall. Harper, at 5'3", felt perpetually like she was addressing the ceiling around his 6'3" frame. Focus. Professional. This is just another client. An annoyingly attractive client who now knows you kept magazine articles about him. "I want this hotel to be an experience," Liam said, studying the designs intensely. "I want guests to feel like they've entered a love story." Harper blinked. "A love story? Romance should be in the architecture, the lighting, how curtains move. People come here to reconnect, remember why they fell in love. We should help them." Oh no. He was a romantic. Harper built her reputation being practical, understanding romance as calculated design elements. Color palettes triggering emotions, lighting creating intimacy, textures evoking comfort. Science, not sentiment. And Liam Ashford talked about love stories like architectural blueprints. "I prefer emotional architecture," Harper said carefully. "Strategic design creating specific atmospheric responses. Warm amber lighting triggers welcome and comfort. Curved furniture placement promotes flow. You don't believe in romance, do you?" He leaned against the table, arms crossed, shoulders impossibly broad. "I believe in beautiful, functional spaces serving their purpose." That's not an answer. It's a professional answer. "Ms. Reed," he said her name like something worth examining. "I want someone who understands we're creating magic." Maya's elbow dug into Harper's ribs. Agree with the wealthy client, but Harper couldn't lie about core beliefs. "Mr. Ashford," she met his gaze, ignoring the height difference. "Romance is lovely in theory. In practice, it's biology. Pheromones and proximity creating temporary illusion. What lasts is practical partnership, shared goals, compatibility. I can create environments facilitating those things. Isn't that more valuable than fantasy?" Silence. Maya whimpered. Liam stared for 5 endless seconds, expression unreadable, offended, amused, intrigued. Then he smiled, transforming his face completely. "You're hired." "What?" "You're exactly what this project needs. Someone who thinks romance is nonsense. Someone I can prove wrong." Harper's instincts screamed danger. This man was trouble. Expensive suits, charming smiles, heartbreak written everywhere. But it was her biggest opportunity. And maybe, just maybe, that small part that remembered being 15 wanted to see if reality matched fantasy. "Fine," Harper extended her hand. "But I'm warning you, Mr. Ashford, I don't believe in fairy tales." His hand engulfed hers, warm and strong, holding a fraction too long. "Then we'll have interesting months, Ms. Reed." He leaned in, voice dropping to a whisper. "Because I absolutely do." Liam Ashford couldn't stop smiling as he watched Harper Reed march out of the conference room with her assistant trailing behind like a bewildered puppy. She was nothing like he'd expected. His previous decorators had been smooth-talking, eager-to-please yes-men who nodded enthusiastically at everything he suggested. They quoted him ridiculous prices, delivered mediocre work, and treated him like a walking checkbook. Harper Reed had looked him dead in the eye and told him romance was a biological illusion. He was completely captivated. "So," his assistant Marcus appeared beside him, holding a tablet. "That was interesting." "She's perfect," Liam said. "She basically told you that your entire hotel concept is scientific nonsense." "I know." Liam couldn't wipe the grin off his face. "Isn't it wonderful?" Marcus, who'd worked with him for 5 years and was used to this kind of thing, just sighed. "You're going to try to prove her wrong, aren't you?" "Obviously. And you're going to enjoy every second of it. Marcus, my friend, when someone throws down a challenge like that, you don't walk away. You pick up the gauntlet and run with it." What Liam didn't mention, because he barely admitted it to himself, was that Harper Reed had done something no woman had done in years. She'd made him nervous. When he'd picked up that magazine clipping, he'd been genuinely confused. Why would a professional decorator be carrying around a 13-year-old article about him? Her explanation had been transparently ridiculous, but he'd been too charmed by the slight tremor in her hands and the pink flush spreading across her cheeks to call her out. She'd been flustered. Because of him. And that was unexpectedly delightful. Liam had built his fortune on reading people, understanding what they wanted, what motivated them, what fears held them back. It was how he'd turned a single boutique hotel into a luxury empire before 35. But Harper was a puzzle he couldn't quite solve. She wore professionalism like armor, sleek black pants, crisp white blouse, sensible flats. Her dark brown hair was pulled back in a practical bun, not a strand out of place. Everything about her screamed competent, no nonsense, untouchable, except for her eyes. Those honey-colored eyes gave everything away. They sparkled when she talked about design theory, narrowed when she was thinking, and widened adorably when she was caught off guard, like when she'd noticed how tall he was compared to her diminutive 5'3". Liam had dated his share of women, tall, elegant women in designer heels who fit perfectly under his arm. But something about Harper's height charmed him in a way he couldn't explain, the way she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes, the way she seemed almost indignant about it, like his height was a personal affront. He found it impossibly endearing. "Sir?" Marcus interrupted his thoughts. "The vendors are waiting for approval on the marble samples." "Later." Liam waved him off, already pulling out his phone. "I need to do some research first." If Harper Reed thought romance was just carefully calculated design, he'd show her otherwise. But first, he needed to understand exactly who he was dealing with. 3 hours later, Liam had a complete profile. Harper Reed, 28, graduated top of her class from Rhode Island School of Design. Started her business with Rachel Thompson 7 years ago. Built a reputation for transforming ordinary spaces into unforgettable experiences. Her client list read like a who's who of East Coast elite. She was talented, dedicated, and according to every review he found, had an almost supernatural ability to understand exactly what a space needed. She was also apparently terrible at hiding her personal life on social media. Liam scrolled through her Instagram, mostly professional shots of completed projects, the occasional photo of her with Rachel looking exhausted but happy after finishing a job. Nothing too personal, until he found a post from 6 months ago. Harper sitting on a beach at sunset, knees pulled to her chest, staring at the ocean. The caption read, "Sometimes I forget why I believed in fairy tales." Then I remember. I don't anymore. The comments were a mix of concerned friends and professional acquaintances offering support. Liam frowned. Someone had hurt her, badly enough that she'd built walls around herself and decided romance was fiction. Well, that was unacceptable. Liam Ashford had never backed down from a challenge, and he wasn't about to start now. Harper collapsed on the couch in the office she shared with Rachel, head in her hands. "That bad?" Rachel looked up from her laptop, dark hair pulled into its signature ponytail, designer glasses perched on her nose. "Worse." Harper's voice came out muffled. "I insulted his entire business philosophy, told him romance was a biological illusion, and then—" She sat up suddenly. "He hired me anyway." Rachel's eyebrows shot up. "He hired you after you insulted him. He said I was perfect for the project, that he could prove me wrong." Harper flopped back dramatically. "Rachel, he's exactly the man from the magazine, except taller, and more attractive and apparently insane." "Oh no." Rachel's expression shifted from concerned to amused. "You still like him?" "I do not. Harper, I've known you since college. You get this specific tone in your voice when you're in denial." Harper grabbed a throw pillow and pressed it over her face. "I'm a professional. I don't develop crushes on clients. You developed a crush on him when you were 15. That was different. He was theoretical then, safe on TV. Now he's real and standing in front of me being all tall and charming and talking about love stories like they matter." Rachel was definitely smiling now. "So you do like him?" "He's a client," Harper said firmly, removing the pillow. "A very important client whose contract could expand our business significantly. I can't afford to mess this up by acting like a starstruck teenager." "But you are a little starstruck." "I'm maintaining professional boundaries." "Sure you are." Rachel turned back to her laptop. "Just do me a favor, and try not to insult his entire worldview in the next meeting." Harper's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Looking forward to working with you, Ms. Reed. First site visit tomorrow at 9 a.m. I'll bring coffee. How do you take yours?" Harper stared at the message. How did he already have her number? More importantly, how did he know she needed coffee to function in the morning? She typed back, "Black, 2 sugars. How did you get my number?" The response came immediately. "Your assistant is very helpful when properly motivated. See you tomorrow, Harper." Harper, not Ms. Reed. Harper. She was in so much trouble. Harper arrived at the Grandview at exactly 8:55 a.m., determined to be early and professional. She'd dressed carefully, black pencil skirt, cream silk blouse, her lucky blazer, hair in a sleek bun, minimal makeup, all business. Liam was already there, leaning against his car with 2 coffee cups and a smile that should have been illegal before 9 a.m. He'd ditched the formal suit for dark jeans and a charcoal sweater that hugged his shoulders in ways that made Harper forget how to walk properly. His hair was slightly messy, like he'd just run his fingers through it, and he had the audacity to look even better than yesterday. "Good morning," he said, extending a coffee cup. "Black, 2 sugars." Harper took it, trying not to notice how their fingers brushed. "Thank you. Shall we?" He gestured toward the hotel entrance. The lobby was a work in progress. Exposed beams, construction materials scattered about, plastic sheeting covering the windows. But Harper could see the potential. High ceilings, natural light pouring in, beautiful bones waiting for the right design. "So," Liam walked beside her, hands in his pockets. "Tell me what you see." Harper set down her coffee and pulled out her tablet, switching into professional mode. "I see a space that wants to be elegant but approachable. The architecture has good flow, but the ceiling height will make it feel cold without proper—" She turned to point at the far wall and walked directly into a ladder, or would have if Liam hadn't caught her around the waist, pulling her back against him. "Careful," his voice was low, amused, right next to her ear. Harper's brain short-circuited. His hands were large and warm against her waist, spanning nearly her entire midsection. She could feel the solid wall of his chest against her back. He smelled like coffee and something expensive and masculine that made her want to lean closer. She managed. "The ladder. I see it." He didn't let go immediately. "You know, for someone who analyzes spaces professionally, you're remarkably unaware of your surroundings." I was concentrating. She could hear the smile in his voice. "Maybe you need a guide. Someone taller who can see obstacles coming." Harper wriggled free, her face burning. I can navigate perfectly well, thank you. Sure you can. Liam's grin was absolutely infuriating. That's why you nearly concussed yourself on construction equipment. She spun to face him, tilting her head back to glare properly, which was difficult when he was so tall and looking down at her with those amused hazel eyes. Are you going to be helpful, or are you just here to mock my height? Can't I do both? Mr. Ashford. Liam, he corrected. We're going to be spending a lot of time together. Might as well use first names. Harper took a steadying breath. Liam, I appreciate your concern for my safety, but I assure you I'm capable of walking through a construction site without constant supervision. Noted. He stepped closer, and Harper had to resist the urge to step back. She wouldn't give him the satisfaction. But humor me anyway. The way he said it, half request, half challenge, made her stomach flip in a way that had nothing to do with professional conduct. Fine, she said, turning back to her tablet. Now about the ceiling height. For the next hour they walked through the space, Harper pointing out design elements while Liam listened intently. But he also kept doing these small things that drove her crazy. When she crouched to examine the flooring, he crouched beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. When she reached for a fabric sample on a high table, he simply plucked it down and handed it to her with a smile that said he knew exactly what he was doing. When she tried to move a heavy sample board, he appeared behind her and lifted it easily, setting it down where she wanted. Where to next? He asked innocently. Harper gritted her teeth. You're enjoying this. Enjoying what? Being helpful. I'm a helpful person. He was definitely laughing at her. They moved to the presidential suite on the top floor. Harper stepped in and immediately envisioned the space, flowing curtains, warm lighting, intimate seating area. She walked to the windows, gesturing as she explained her vision. The curtains need to be silk, floor to ceiling. When they move in the breeze, it creates this... She turned around to find Liam directly behind her. Too close. Close enough that she could see the green flecks in his hazel eyes. Close enough to notice the small scar above his left eyebrow. Close enough that when she breathed in, she caught that intoxicating scent of him. It creates what? His voice had dropped lower. Harper's mouth went dry. Movement. Visual interest. Romance. She caught herself. I mean the illusion of romance. Strategic atmospheric design. He smiled slowly. Of course. The illusion. Exactly. Neither of them moved. Harper's heart pounded so loud she was certain he could hear it. This was ridiculous. She was a professional. She'd decorated dozens of hotel suites without turning into a stammering mess. But none of those hotels had been owned by the man who'd been her adolescent fantasy come to life. Harper, Liam said softly. Yes? You're standing on a paint tarp that's not secured. She looked down. He was right. Her heel was caught on loose plastic. Oh. She tried to step back and nearly tripped. Again. Liam caught her again, this time by the elbows, steadying her. You really do need a keeper. I'm usually much more coordinated, Harper protested weakly. I'm sure you are. He was definitely laughing now. When I'm not around? Exactly. She stopped. That's not what I meant. But it's what you said. He released her slowly, hands lingering. Interesting. Harper grabbed her tablet like a shield. We should continue the tour. Whatever you say, Harper. The way he said her name, all warm and slightly teasing, made her stomach do that annoying flip again. This was going to be a very long project. And Harper was beginning to suspect that Liam Ashford knew exactly what effect he had on her, and planned to enjoy every second of it. So, let me get this straight, Maya said 3 days later, perched on Harper's desk while sorting through fabric swatches. He caught you 3 times yesterday. 4, Harper corrected miserably, not looking up from her sketches. I walked into a door frame in the penthouse. A door frame. It was poorly placed. Harper. Maya's voice was heavy with meaning. You're the most spatially aware person I know. You can navigate a room in the dark. You once caught a falling vase without even looking. Your point? My point is that you turn into a disaster human when he's around. Maya grinned. It's actually adorable. It's mortifying. Harper threw down her pencil. I'm supposed to be a professional. Instead, I'm walking into stationary objects and tripping over flat surfaces like some kind of... Her phone buzzed. Liam. Fabric samples arrived. Come see, I'll make sure the path is clear of obstacles. Maya, reading over her shoulder, squealed. He's flirting with you. He's mocking me. Same thing. Maya bounced excitedly. This is amazing. The hot millionaire client has a thing for you. He does not have a thing for me, he's just... Harper trailed off because, honestly, she didn't know how to finish that sentence. What was Liam doing? He showed up every single day, always with her coffee exactly how she liked it. He asked thoughtful questions about her design choices. He listened intently when she explained her vision, and he touched her. Not inappropriately, Liam Ashford was too smooth for that, but constantly. A hand at the small of her back guiding her through doorways. Fingers brushing hers when he handed her something. That infuriating habit of simply picking her up by the waist and moving her when she was in his way. Yesterday she'd been examining paint samples on a table, and he'd literally lifted her up and set her down 3 feet to the left because he needed to access the drawer underneath. "You're like a decorative object," she'd complained. "You weigh nothing," he'd replied with that devastating smile. It's efficient. She'd wanted to be annoyed. She really had. Instead, she'd spent the rest of the day hyper-aware of how easily he'd lifted her, how strong his hands had felt around her waist, how her body had fit perfectly against his chest for those brief seconds. This was a problem. "Go." Maya pushed her toward the door. "He's waiting, I'll handle the supplier calls." Harper grabbed her bag reluctantly. "Maya." "What?" "If I make a complete fool of myself, you're never allowed to mention it." "Deal," Maya lied cheerfully. Artidukis, Arnsin Liam was in the lobby when Harper arrived, standing next to a delivery truck with Marcus hovering nearby with a tablet. "Harper!" Liam's face lit up when he saw her. Not just a professional smile, actual, genuine pleasure at her presence. Her traitorous heart did a little skip. "The samples are in the conference room," he said, falling into step beside her. "I took the liberty of organizing them by room." "You organized fabric samples?" "I had Marcus do it, but I supervised." He held the door open for her. "I'm very hands-on with this project." That was the problem. He was hands-on with everything, including her. The conference table was covered in fabric swatches, organized with meticulous precision. Harper immediately started examining them, falling into her element. "These are perfect for the suites," she murmured, running her fingers over silk damask. "And this linen for the spa area." She turned to grab her notebook from the chair and found herself suddenly face to chest with Liam, who'd moved behind her without her noticing. "Sorry," she stepped back quickly, bumping into the table. "My fault." He didn't look sorry. "I was just observing. You can observe from farther away. But then, I can't see what you're looking at. You're 6'3". You can see over my head from anywhere in the room." He grinned. "Good point." Then, because apparently he was determined to give her a heart attack, he simply reached around her to pick up a velvet swatch, his arm brushing her shoulder. "What about this one?" Harper's brain struggled to function with him that close. "It's... nice. Just nice." He was definitely laughing at her again. "I thought you'd have stronger opinions." "I would if you'd give me space to think." "Am I distracting you, Harper?" "Yes." God, yes, he was so distracting she could barely remember her own name when he looked at her like that. "You're standing in my light," she said primly. "Ah." He stepped back, but not before trailing his fingers along the table edge, just barely grazing her hand. "Better?" Her hand tingled where he touched it. "Much." For the next hour, they reviewed samples. Liam had surprisingly good taste and strong opinions. He vetoed anything too modern or cold, gravitating toward textures that felt warm and inviting. "People should want to touch things," he explained, running his hand over a cashmere throw. "A hotel room should seduce the senses." Harper tried very hard not to think about seduction, while Liam Ashford was touching soft fabrics 2 feet away from her. "These work," she said, marking several swatches. "I'll need to see them in the actual spaces before final approval, but..." She reached for a sample on the high end of the table. It was just slightly out of reach even when she stretched. Before she could grab a chair to stand on, Liam moved behind her. "Here," he said, and his hands settled on her waist. Harper froze. "What are you—" He lifted her straight up, holding her suspended in the air like she weighed absolutely nothing. "Which one?" "Liam Ashford, put me down." "Soon as you tell me which fabric." Harper was going to kill him, or die of mortification, possibly both. "The ivory damask," she managed. "Top right." He shifted her slightly, still holding her up. "This one?" "Yes. Now put me down before..." The conference room door opened. Marcus walked in, took one look at them, Liam holding Harper in the air like a trophy, and slowly backed out. "Sorry," they heard him say from the hallway. Wrong room. Definitely the wrong room. Liam set Harper down gently, his shoulders shaking with laughter. Harper's face was on fire. That was efficient. He was grinning broadly now, completely inappropriate. You couldn't reach. He said it so reasonably, like lifting her up was the obvious solution. I was helping. By manhandling me? I prefer to think of it as facilitating vertical challenges. Harper grabbed her bag. I'm leaving. Harper. He caught her hand. She stopped, despite every instinct telling her to keep walking. I'm sorry, he said, and he actually sounded sincere. I didn't mean to embarrass you, you couldn't reach, and I thought... He ran his free hand through his hair. I'm not good at keeping my hands to myself around you, her heart stuttered. What? I mean... He looked almost flustered, which was fascinating on a man who always seemed so confident. I just meant that I like helping, being useful. That's all. That wasn't all. Harper knew attraction when she saw it, even when she'd spent years denying it existed. Liam Ashford liked her, and heaven help her, she liked him too. Just ask next time, she said quietly, before you decide to relocate me. His thumb brushed across her knuckles. Deal. She should pull her hand away. She really should. Instead, she let him hold it for just a moment longer than necessary before gathering her samples and fleeing the conference room with whatever dignity she had left. Behind her, she heard Marcus return. Sir, we really need to discuss boundaries with your decorator. Marcus, my friend, I think boundaries are exactly what we're trying to eliminate. Harper smiled despite herself as she walked away. This was definitely going to be a long project. And maybe, just maybe, that wasn't such a bad thing. 2 weeks into the project, Harper had developed a system. Rule 1, arrive before Liam to avoid the coffee and devastating smile ambush. Rule 2, maintain at least 3 feet of distance at all times. Rule 3, no reaching for anything on high surfaces. Just ask Maya to get it. Rule 4, absolutely do not make eye contact when he's being charming, which was approximately always. The system lasted exactly 6 days before Liam demolished it completely. Harper was in the presidential suite, installing sample curtain panels, when she heard footsteps behind her. Don't you have actual work to do? She asked without turning around. Running a hotel empire or something? Delegation is key to success, Liam's amused voice replied. Besides, this is more interesting. Watching me hang curtains? Watching you do anything, actually. Harper's hands stilled on the fabric. She absolutely was not going to acknowledge that comment. Hand me the measuring tape? She heard him move closer, then felt the tape press into her palm, but he didn't let go immediately. Harper. She still didn't turn around. Why won't you look at me? I'm working. You looked at me plenty the first day we met. That was before I knew you were going to be impossible. She heard his quiet laugh, felt him shift closer. Impossible how? You show up every day. It's my hotel. You bring me coffee. You need coffee to function. Marcus researched it. She finally turned around, ready to list every annoying thing he'd done. But he was right there, much closer than she'd expected, and the words died in her throat. He was smiling that soft smile that transformed his entire face, the one that made him look less like a ruthless businessman and more like someone who'd give you his jacket in the rain. I what? He prompted gently. Till you confuse me, Harper admitted before she could stop herself. Good. He reached out and tucked a strand of hair that had escaped her bun behind her ear. You confuse me too. I do? Completely. His hand lingered near her cheek. I can't figure out if you actually hate romance or if you're just scared of it. Harper's breath caught. I'm not scared. Terrified, he corrected, but his tone was gentle, not mocking. Someone hurt you. Made you think feelings weren't real. Made you believe the only safe thing was logic and design principles. How did he know that? How could he see through her so easily? This is inappropriate, Harper said, but she didn't step back. You're my client. I'm also a man who's fascinated by a woman who thinks romance is a biological illusion. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. Do you feel that? Feel what? Your heart racing, your breath catching. That's not biology, Harper. That's connection. It's proximity and pheromones. It's us. He said it with such conviction. And you feel it too. You're just too stubborn to admit it. Harper opened her mouth to argue, to throw logic and reason at him like shields. The door burst open. Boss! Emergency! Marcus stood in the doorway, tablet clutched to his chest, looking panicked. Then he registered the scene. Liam standing inches from Harper, hand still near her face. Oh no. I did it again, didn't I? Liam dropped his hand slowly, stepping back. What's the emergency? The marble supplier, they sent the wrong stone. All of it. 5 tons of the wrong marble is currently being unloaded in the service entrance. Liam closed his eyes. How wrong? Granite. They sent granite. Black granite. I ordered Carrara marble. I know, sir. They're very apologetic. Liam looked at Harper apologetically. I have to go, Harper said, trying to sound professional when her heart was still doing gymnastics. Fix the marble crisis. He hesitated, like he wanted to say something more. Then Marcus cleared his throat meaningfully, and Liam followed him out, throwing one last look over his shoulder. Harper sank onto the window seat, hands shaking. Do you feel that? Yes. God help her. Yes. She felt it. That evening, Harper was still at the hotel reviewing paint samples when her phone rang. Rachel. Please tell me you're coming to the supplier's dinner tonight, Rachel said without preamble. Harper's blood went cold. What dinner? The networking dinner. I sent you the calendar invite 3 weeks ago. All our major suppliers, potential new clients. Harper, this is huge for us. The calendar invite. The one Harper had ignored because it was the same night Liam had casually mentioned wanting to take her to dinner. Not a work dinner, an actual date. She'd been so flustered she'd said yes without checking her calendar. Rachel, do not tell me you forgot. I didn't forget exactly, I just have other plans. Rachel's voice got sharp. Harper, this dinner could secure contracts for the next 2 years. We need the connections. Especially now that we're working on the Grandview. Everyone wants to know about it. Harper closed her eyes. What time? 7. The Maritime Club. Wear something impressive. Rachel paused. Is everything okay? You sound weird. Everything's fine. It was a complete lie. I'll be there. She hung up and immediately texted Liam. I'm so sorry. I have to cancel tonight. Work emergency. His response came within seconds. Everything okay? Just a dinner I forgot about. Important networking. The Maritime Club. Harper froze. How did you know? Marcus mentioned it. Supplier's dinner. Big deal, apparently. I'm really sorry. There was a long pause. Then, don't be. Work comes first. I understand. But Harper had the sinking feeling she'd just made a terrible mistake. The Maritime Club was exactly as Harper remembered. Elegant, expensive, full of important people making important deals. Rachel had secured a prime table. Their suppliers were thrilled to discuss the Grandview project. New clients expressed interest in their services. It should have been perfect. Except Liam was there, at a table across the restaurant, with a woman. Not just any woman, a tall, blonde, impossibly elegant woman, in a designer dress and heels that made her legs look endless. She leaned toward Liam, laughing at something he'd said, her hand resting on his arm. Harper's stomach dropped. Harper! Rachel followed her gaze. Isn't that your client? Yes. Who's the woman? I don't know. But whoever she was, she looked perfect next to Liam. Sophisticated, confident, not someone who tripped over flat surfaces or needed to be lifted to reach high shelves. Throughout dinner, Harper tried to focus on the conversation at her table, tried to smile and network and be professional, but her eyes kept drifting back to Liam, watching him smile at the blonde woman, watching her touch his arm, his shoulder, lean in close. And the worst part, he hadn't looked at Harper once. It was like she wasn't even there. Excuse me, Harper murmured, standing abruptly. I need some air. She made it to the terrace before the tears started. Stupid, pointless tears for a man she barely knew. A man who was her client. A man who probably brought coffee to all his decorators and flirted with everyone because that's what charming millionaires did. She'd been an idiot. A complete idiot who'd started believing in romance again despite knowing better. Harper. She spun around. Liam stood in the terrace doorway, backlit by the restaurant lights, expression unreadable. What are you doing out here? He asked quietly. Getting air. She wiped her eyes quickly. Shouldn't you be inside with your date? Something flickered across his face. She's not my date. She's a potential investor, and you're the one who cancelled on me to be here. For work. This is work. So is my dinner. He moved closer. But I'd much rather be with you. Harper's breath caught. Liam, I watched you all evening, trying not to look at me, looking anyway, getting upset. He was right in front of her now. Did you think I'd just move on because you had to cancel? I don't know what I thought. Think this. He cupped her face in both hands, tilting it up to meet his eyes. I'm interested in exactly one person. And she's standing right here trying not to cry because she thought I was with someone else. This is complicated. It doesn't have to be. You're my client. I'm a man who's crazy about you. He said it simply, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Everything else is just details. Harper's heart was doing that stupid fluttering thing again. I chose work over you tonight. I know, and I respect that. Your career matters. Your business matters. His thumbs brushed away the tears on her cheeks. But Harper, next time you have to choose, can you at least tell me yourself instead of texting? I was embarrassed. Don't be. I'm not going anywhere. He smiled softly. I'm patient and persistent. Fair warning. Before Harper could respond, Rachel appeared in the doorway. Harper, the Donovan contract. She stopped. Oh, am I interrupting? Liam dropped his hands, but didn't step back. She's all yours. I should get back to my investor anyway. He squeezed Harper's hand once quickly, then disappeared back inside. Rachel stared at Harper. Okay, you and I are having a very long conversation later. Harper touched her face where his hands had been, still feeling the warmth. Yeah, she agreed softly. We really are. You're in love with him, Rachel announced the next morning, barging into Harper's workspace with 2 coffees and a determined expression. Harper didn't look up from her sketches. I am not. You cried on a terrace because you thought he was on a date. That was... Harper searched for a reasonable explanation. Stress. The project pressure. Harper Elizabeth Reed. Rachel set down the coffees with emphasis. I have known you for 10 years. You cried once when your college portfolio got ruined in a flood, and once when your grandmother died. You don't cry over project stress. Harper finally looked up. Okay, fine. Maybe I have feelings, but it doesn't matter. How does it not matter? Because he's Liam Ashford, millionaire hotel mogul, and I'm the decorator he hired who can't walk through a room without injuring herself. Harper dropped her pencil. This isn't a fairy tale, Rachel. In real life, the successful billionaire doesn't fall for the clumsy girl who tells him romance is fake. Except he literally told you last night that he's crazy about you. He said interested. He said crazy about you. I was there for the end of that conversation. Rachel sat on the desk. Harper, what are you so afraid of? Harper was quiet for a long moment. Jason. Rachel's expression softened. Jason. The boyfriend who'd proposed, planned their future, promised forever, then left her for someone less complicated 2 months before the wedding, who'd told her that her need for logic and control made her difficult to love. Jason was an idiot, Rachel said firmly, and Liam is not Jason. But what if I mess it up? What if I'm too practical, too logical, too yourself? Rachel interrupted. Harper, Liam knows exactly who you are. You literally told him romance was biological illusion in your first meeting, and he hired you anyway. He comes to the site every day, he brings you coffee, he looks at you like you hung the moon. He looks at me like I'm a puzzle he wants to solve. Same thing, from what I can tell. Rachel squeezed her hand. Look, I know the Grandview contract is huge for us. I know you're worried about mixing business with personal, but Harper, life is short, and that man is clearly head over heels. Harper wanted to believe it. She really did. Her phone buzzed. Liam, are you avoiding me today? She typed back. Working. Come see the lobby. We installed the chandelier. Send a picture. Come see it in person. Some things need to be experienced, not photographed. Harper showed the text to Rachel, who grinned. Go. I have work. I'll handle the supplier calls. Go see your chandelier and your millionaire. As the lobby chandelier was spectacular, Harper stood in the center of the space, head tilted back, watching light dance through 1,000 crystals. It cast patterns across the marble floor like scattered diamonds. Worth the trip, Liam's voice came from behind her. She spun around. He was in jeans and a white button-down with rolled sleeves, looking unfairly handsome in the afternoon light. It's perfect, Harper admitted. Exactly what the space needed. You designed it. I just bought it. He moved closer. Are we okay? After last night? I'm the one who should ask that. I cancelled on you. For a legitimate reason. He studied her face. But you were upset when you saw me with Victoria. Victoria? The investor. She wants to partner on my London project. He reached out and gently tugged the pencil from Harper's bun, letting her hair tumble down. There, that's better. Hey. Harper tried to grab it back, but he held it above his head, grinning. See? This is why I need to stop putting things in high places around you. Give it back, you giant. Make me. Harper glared up at him. This was ridiculous. She was a professional adult, not a teenager playing keep-away. But Liam was looking at her with such open affection, such unguarded warmth that she couldn't help laughing. You're impossible. So you keep saying. He handed back the pencil. But you're still here. Because you installed my chandelier. Sure. The chandelier. His smile suggested he knew better. Want to see the restaurant space? The tables arrived. They walked through the hotel together, falling into easy conversation about design choices and logistics. Liam had opinions on everything, from the angle of the dining chairs to the texture of the napkins. Most clients just approve the budget and leave, Harper commented. You're involved in every detail. I told you, I'm hands-on. The way he said it, looking directly at her, made it clear he wasn't just talking about the hotel. In the restaurant, Harper examined the tables, running her hand over the smooth wood. These are beautiful. Where did you source them? Local craftsman. I wanted everything to feel connected to the coast. Liam leaned against one of the tables, watching her work. Harper, can I ask you something? Sure. What happened? To make you stop believing in romance? Harper's hand stilled. That's a pretty personal question. I'm a pretty interested person. She was quiet for a moment, debating. Then, his name was Jason. We were engaged. He left me for someone less complicated. Liam's jaw tightened. He's an idiot. Maybe. Or maybe I am too practical, too focused on logic, too perfect exactly as you are. Liam pushed off the table, closing the distance between them. Harper, you're not too anything. You're brilliant and talented, and yes, practical, but that doesn't make you complicated, it makes you real. You barely know me. I know you take your coffee black with 2 sugars. I know you bite your lip when you're concentrating. I know you pretend to be annoyed when I move you around, but I've seen you smile about it when you think I'm not looking. He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. I know you kept a magazine clipping of me for 13 years, which is possibly the most romantic thing anyone's ever done. Harper's cheeks burned. That was teenage nostalgia. That was hope. His voice was soft. That was a girl who believed in fairy tales before someone convinced her they weren't real. Liam, I want to prove him wrong. Prove to you that romance isn't biology or proximity or illusion. It's real, and it's wonderful, and you deserve it. Harper's heart was hammering. This is a really bad idea. Probably. You're my client. This is unprofessional. Completely. He was smiling now. We barely know each other. Then let's change that. Have dinner with me. A real dinner. No work emergencies. Just us. Harper knew she should say no, should maintain boundaries, should protect her heart and her business. Instead, she heard herself say, okay. Yeah? His whole face lit up. One dinner, to prove that romance is still just biology and proximity, I know. He was grinning now. I'll pick you up tomorrow at 7. Wear something nice. I always wear something nice. Wear something that's not covered in paint samples. That's most of my wardrobe, Harper protested, but she was smiling too. Then I guess you'll have to go shopping. He caught her hand, pressing a kiss to her knuckles that made her breath catch. See you tomorrow, Harper Reed. He left her standing in the restaurant, heart racing, mind spinning. One dinner, just to prove a point. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, as it turned out. Because the next afternoon, Rachel called with panic in her voice. Harper, we have a problem. A big one. How big? Donovan contract might fall through big. They want a meeting. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Harper's stomach dropped. Tomorrow night. I know you have plans, but Harper, if we lose this contract... Rachel's voice was strained. We took out a loan to cover the Grandview project. If Donovan walks, we might not make payroll next month. Harper closed her eyes. I'll be there. You sure I can handle it alone? No. I'll cancel my plans. This is more important. It was the right choice, the professional choice, the logical choice. So why did it feel like she was making a terrible mistake? She texted Liam, I'm so sorry I have to cancel tomorrow, client emergency. His response took longer than usual. Understood. That was it. Just understood. No, we'll reschedule, or no worries. Harper stared at her phone, that sinking feeling growing worse. She was choosing work over him again, and this time she wasn't sure he'd be patient enough to forgive her. Liam didn't show up the next day, or the day after that. Harper told herself it was fine, professional even. They'd gotten too close, too fast. This distance was healthy, except it wasn't fine. Marcus came by instead, delivering approvals and answering questions with polite efficiency. The coffee stopped arriving. The playful texts stopped. The constant presence that had become part of Harper's daily routine simply vanished. He's busy with the London project, Marcus explained, when Harper finally worked up the courage to ask. Back-to-back meetings all week. It was a perfectly reasonable explanation. It was also clearly a lie. Maya noticed immediately. Where's your friendly neighborhood millionaire? Busy. Harper focused intently on her fabric samples. Since when? Since I cancelled on him again. Oh, Harper. It was the right choice. Rachel needed me. The Donovan contract, I know, but maybe you could have explained. Actually called him instead of texting. Harper had thought about it, multiple times. But what would she say? Sorry I keep choosing work over you, but my business partner took out a loan and I'm terrified of losing everything we've built. That sounded desperate, complicated, exactly what Jason had accused her of being. On day 5 of Liam's absence, Harper broke down and texted, "How's London?" No response. On day 6, she tried again. The curtains arrived for the presidential suite. Want to see them installed? Nothing. Day 7. Are we okay? Her phone stayed silent. Rachel found her that evening in the Grandview lobby, sitting on a dust-covered chair staring at her phone. He's not responding, Harper said quietly. Rachel sat beside her. The Donovan meeting went well. We got the contract. That's great. You don't sound happy. I am. This is what we needed. Financial security, professional growth. Harper's voice cracked. So, why do I feel like I lost something more important? Rachel put an arm around her shoulders. Because you did. You lost the chance to see where this could go. He was my client. He was a man who looked at you like you were the only person in the room, who learned how you take your coffee and showed up every single day just to see you, who was patient and sweet and clearly falling for you. Rachel squeezed her shoulder. And you were falling for him too. I was protecting our business. No, honey. You were protecting your heart. And I get it. Jason destroyed you. But Liam isn't Jason. And by always choosing work, you proved to him that he'll never be the priority. Harper felt tears burning her eyes. What do I do? You fight for him. Actually show up and fight. What if it's too late? Then at least you tried. Harper showed up at the Grandview at 6 a.m. the next morning, armed with coffee and determination. Liam's car was already in the parking lot. She found him in the penthouse suite, reviewing blueprints with his contractor. He looked tired, shadows under his eyes, hair more disheveled than usual, jaw tight with stress. He looked up when she entered, and something flickered in his expression before he locked it down. Ms. Reed. His voice was professionally distant. The contractor has questions about the balcony fixtures. Ms. Reed, not Harper. Not even with that teasing warmth he used to use, just cold, formal Ms. Reed. Harper swallowed hard. Of course. I'll review the specifications. They spent an hour discussing technical details, Liam maintaining careful distance. No casual touches, no playful banter, just efficient professional discussion. When the contractor left, silence fell between them. Liam, Harper started, is there anything else you need? He was already gathering his blueprints. I have a conference call in 20 minutes. I need to apologize. Not necessary. You had work obligations. I understand. His tone said he understood perfectly and had drawn his own conclusions. I should have called instead of texting. It's fine, Harper. He moved toward the door. It's not fine. She stepped in front of him. You're angry with me. I'm not angry. He met her eyes finally, and Harper wished he were angry. Anger she could handle. This careful neutrality was worse. I'm being realistic. You have your priorities. I have mine. We got too distracted. Distracted? From what matters? The hotel, our professional relationship. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. It was my fault. I pushed too hard, too fast. Made you uncomfortable. You didn't. I did. And I'm sorry. From now on, purely professional. You won't have to worry about me crossing boundaries anymore. Each word felt like a small wound. This was what she'd thought she wanted. Clear professional boundaries, no complications. So why did it hurt so much? What if I don't want purely professional? He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Harper, you've cancelled on me twice. Chosen work over me twice. I'm not angry. I actually respect it. Your career matters. Your business matters. But I'm not going to keep pursuing someone who doesn't want to be pursued. You want safety, certainty, things you can control. His voice was gentle but firm. I can't be those things. I'm messy and romantic, and I want more than stolen moments between meetings. I want someone who's willing to take a risk on me. I'm willing, you're not. And that's okay. He stepped around her. We'll finish the hotel. It'll be beautiful, but that's all this is. Business. He left before Harper could find words to stop him. She stood alone in the penthouse suite, surrounded by the beautiful design they'd created together, and realized Rachel was right. She hadn't been protecting her business, she'd been protecting her heart, and in doing so she'd pushed away the one person who made her want to believe in romance again. He won't even look at me, Harper told Maya 3 days later, watching Liam through the lobby windows as he spoke with contractors. It's like I don't exist. Maya squeezed her hand. So make him look. How? Show him you're willing to fight, to take the risk, to choose him. Maya grinned. Basically, stop being logical for 5 minutes and do something completely romantic and impractical. Harper bit her lip. I don't know how. Sure you do. You've spent weeks studying what romance looks like. You've designed entire spaces around it. Time to practice what you've been preaching. Harper looked at the hotel, at the chandelier catching light, at the flowing curtains, at every carefully chosen detail designed to make people believe in love stories. Maybe it was time to write her own. Maya, I need your help. Finally. Maya pulled out her tablet. Let's make that man regret ever going professional on you. Harper spent 2 days planning her grand romantic gesture. It went spectacularly wrong. She'd arranged everything perfectly. A private dinner in the penthouse suite, candles, the curtains she'd designed flowing in the evening breeze. She'd even worn a dress, a soft green thing that Maya insisted brought out her eyes. She'd texted Liam, "Can you meet me at the penthouse at 7? Important design decision." He'd responded with a simple, "I'll send Marcus." Harper had insisted, "It needs to be you." Reluctantly, "Fine. 7 p.m. Harper arrived early, heart pounding. The space looked perfect, romantic. Exactly the kind of scene she'd spent months claiming was just calculated design. Except now she understood. It wasn't calculation. It was hope. Liam arrived at 7:03, looking wary. What's the design emergency? He stayed near the door, maintaining distance. There's no emergency. Harper stepped forward. I wanted to talk to you. Harper, please, just listen. She took a breath. You were right. I've been scared. Terrified, actually. Of getting hurt again, of being too much or not enough, of choosing wrong. So I chose work because work was safe. Work never tells you you're too complicated to love. His expression softened slightly. Harper. But here's the thing. I don't want safe anymore. I want messy and romantic and completely impractical. I want coffee at 9 a.m. and someone who lifts me up to reach high shelves even though it's ridiculous. I want someone who believes in love stories enough to prove them to someone who doesn't believe. Her voice cracked. I want you, Liam, and I'm sorry it took me this long to be brave enough to say it. For a long moment he just stared at her. Then he moved forward, and Harper's heart soared. The door burst open. Victoria swept in, tall and elegant in a cream suit, phone pressed to her ear. Liam, finally, I've been trying to reach you all day. The London investors are ready to... She stopped, registering Harper in her dress, the candles, the setup. Oh, am I interrupting? Yes, Harper said. No, Liam said simultaneously. To Victoria. Give me 5 minutes. The call starts in 3. Then tell them to wait. For the first time in days, there was heat in Liam's voice. Victoria's perfectly shaped eyebrows rose. Liam, this is a $12 million deal. 5 minutes, Victoria. She looked between them, then smiled slowly. Fine. But if we lose the investors, you're buying me a very expensive apology dinner. She swept out as dramatically as she'd entered. Silence fell. I should go, Harper said quietly. You have important business. Don't. Liam closed the distance between them. Don't use my work as an excuse to run away. I'm not. You are. Because this is scary and vulnerable, and there's a chance I'll hurt you or you'll hurt me or we'll mess this up completely. He cupped her face in his hands. But Harper, I'm willing to take that risk. The question is, are you? Harper's eyes filled with tears. I cancelled on you twice. You had valid reasons. I made you feel like you weren't important. You were protecting yourself. His thumbs brushed away her tears. And maybe I pushed too hard, too fast. Maybe we both needed to step back and figure out what we really wanted. I want you, Harper whispered. I'm terrified, but I want you. Good. He smiled, really smiled, for the first time in days. Because I never stopped wanting you, even when I was being professionally distant and pretending not to care. You're very good at pretending. Years of practice in business meetings. He leaned his forehead against hers. But, Harper, I don't want to pretend anymore. Liam, his phone buzzed insistently. They both ignored it. You should take that, Harper said. London investors. They can wait. $12 million is nothing compared to this moment. He tilted her chin up. I spent a week convincing myself I could be professional and distant, that I could work with you every day and not want to kiss you, want to make you laugh, want to carry you around just to see you get all flustered and adorable. Harper laughed through her tears. I hate when you do that. No, you don't. Okay, I don't. I actually really love it, which is completely impractical, and he kissed her. Finally, actually kissed her. Not the brief press of lips from the parking lot weeks ago. This was thorough, deep, the kind of kiss that made Harper forget her own name. His hand slid into her hair, angling her head, and she grabbed his shirt for balance as the world tilted. He kissed her like he'd been waiting forever, like she was air and water and everything necessary for survival. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Liam rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that for weeks, he murmured. Just weeks? Okay, since the moment that magazine clipping fell out of your bag and you turned bright red. He kissed her nose. You were so adorably embarrassed. I was mortified. You were perfect. He kissed her again, softer this time. Still are. The door opened. Again. Liam, I hate to break up whatever this is. Victoria stood there looking amused. But the investors are threatening to walk. I need you, now. Liam sighed against Harper's lips. Terrible timing. It's okay. Go. Harper stepped back, straightening his collar. Save your $12 million deal. Come with me. What? Come with me. I want you to hear the pitch, see what I'm building. He caught her hand. Besides, if I leave you here, I might come back to find you've convinced yourself this was all a mistake. Harper bit her lip. Your investors probably don't want a decorator sitting in. My investors want my business. You're part of my life now. Deal with it. He was already pulling her toward the door. Victoria watched them with barely concealed amusement. She's coming to the call? Problem? Liam challenged. Not at all. I'm just remembering why I found you so frustrating to work with. But she was smiling. You always did let your heart make business decisions. My heart has excellent instincts. They made it to the conference room with 30 seconds to spare. Harper tried to sit quietly in the corner, but Liam pulled her into the chair next to his, keeping her hand in his throughout the entire call. The investors approved the London project. When they signed off, Victoria stood, gathering her materials. Well, that was surprisingly easy. She looked at Harper. You're good for him. He was unbearable this past week. I wasn't unbearable. You were sulking. It was very unbecoming. Victoria smiled. Take care of him. And Liam, don't mess this up. She seems like the kind of woman who won't give you a third chance. After Victoria left, Harper turned to Liam. I like her. Really. Most people find her terrifying. She's honest, direct. I appreciate that. Harper played with his fingers. So, what now? Now. Liam pulled her into his lap, making her squeak in surprise. We do this properly. No more cancelled dates. No more choosing work over each other. That's not realistic. Then we'll figure it out. Together. He kissed her temple. But Harper, I need to know you're all in. That when things get complicated or scary, you won't run back to work and hide. Harper thought about the past 2 weeks, the misery of his absence, the realization that she'd rather risk heartbreak than spend another day without him. I'm all in, she said firmly. Terrified, but all in. Good, because I'm about to do something completely impractical. What? He stood, lifting her easily, and carried her toward the door. Liam Ashford, put me down. Never learning, are you? He was grinning now. You're light as a feather, and I like carrying you. Deal with it. Harper laughed, wrapping her arms around his neck. You're impossible. You love it. And the terrifying, wonderful truth was, she did. Dating Liam Ashford, Harper discovered, was like living in a romantic comedy where she was perpetually 3 steps behind the plot. He sent flowers to the office, not generic roses, but wildflowers that matched the exact color palette she'd chosen for the hotel spa. He left notes tucked into her design portfolios. Page 47 needs more romance. Also dinner tonight. He showed up at random times with coffee and that smile that made her forget how to function like a normal human being. You're spoiling me, Harper protested one morning, when he appeared with not just coffee, but also fresh croissants from her favorite bakery across town. That's the idea. He kissed her forehead, apparently unconcerned that Maya and 3 contractors were watching with poorly concealed grins. People are staring. Let them stare. He pulled her closer. I'm dating the most talented decorator on the West Coast. I'm allowed to be proud. Harper's cheeks burned, but she was smiling. You're impossible. You say that a lot. Because it's true a lot. 3 weeks into officially dating, they'd fallen into a comfortable rhythm. Mornings at the hotel working side by side, lunches stolen between meetings, evenings at her apartment or his penthouse, talking about everything and nothing. Harper learned that Liam was terrible at cooking, but excellent at ordering takeout from restaurants she'd never heard of, that he read poetry before bed, actual poetry, by choice, that he'd built his hotel empire because his grandmother had owned a small bed and breakfast, and he'd wanted to capture that feeling of home on a larger scale. She believed places could hold love, Liam explained one evening. Harper tucked against his side on his couch. That the right space could help people find each other. That's why you're so obsessed with romance in design. That's why I hired a decorator who thought it was all nonsense, wanted to see if I could change her mind. He pressed a kiss to her hair. How am I doing? Harper tilted her face up to his. I'm starting to see your point. Starting to? He looked offended. I bring you coffee every morning. I leave romantic notes. I literally carry you around whenever possible. Which is still ridiculous, which is adorable. He shifted, pulling her into his lap so they were face to face. Admit it, you love the romance. Harper bit her lip, fighting a smile. It's not terrible, not terrible. He laughed, fingers threading through her hair. Such high praise. Okay, fine. It's wonderful. Happy? Getting there. He leaned in, and Harper's breath caught as his lips brushed hers. But I think I need more convincing. She was about to provide very thorough convincing when her phone rang. Rachel. Again. Harper groaned. I should take it, Liam said, but he looked amused rather than annoyed as he shifted her off his lap. This better be important, Harper answered. The Wallace wedding. The bride just added 50 more guests. Rachel sounded frantic. We need to redesign the entire seating arrangement and probably add another buffet station. And Harper, I'm drowning over here. Harper glanced at Liam, who was watching her with patient understanding. I'll be there in 20 minutes. I'm sorry. I know you had plans. It's fine. Text me the details. She hung up and turned to Liam. I have to go save the Wallace wedding. I know. He stood, pulling her to her feet. Need help? You want to help with a wedding seating chart? I'm excellent at organizing people. Built an entire hotel chain on it. He was already grabbing his keys. Besides, your office or the venue? Venue. We need to see the space. Then I'm driving. You can brief me on the way. 20 minutes later, they arrived at the beachfront venue, where Rachel was indeed drowning, surrounded by table layouts, place cards, and a bride who was on her 3rd glass of champagne. Harper, thank God, Rachel spotted them. And Liam? Reinforcements, Liam said easily. Where do you need me? For the next 3 hours, they worked together. Liam proved surprisingly good at wedding logistics, charming the bride while efficiently reorganizing seating arrangements. He lifted heavy tables without breaking a sweat, moved decorations to better positions, and somehow convinced the stressed bride that 50 extra guests was an opportunity for an even more spectacular celebration. You're really good at this, Harper said when they finally finished, watching the bride leave happy and slightly drunk. "I deal with demanding clients all the time. Brides are just more honest about their needs." He pulled Harper close, not caring that Rachel was still packing up supplies. "Plus, it gave me ideas." "Ideas for what?" "Our wedding." Harper's heart stopped. "Our what?" "Eventually. Way in the future. After proper dating and probably moving in together and at least 3 more arguments about whether I'm allowed to carry you around." He was grinning at her expression. "What? Too soon to mention?" "Way too soon. But not opposed to it?" His voice held genuine curiosity. Harper thought about the past few weeks, about coffee and flowers and poetry, and the way he looked at her like she was the best thing he'd ever seen, about how he showed up for her, even to help with wedding seating charts. "Not opposed," she admitted quietly. "Someday." His smile could have lit the entire venue. "Good enough for me." Rachel cleared her throat loudly. "As touching as this is, can you two stop being adorable and help me load the van?" They spent another hour packing up, Liam teasing Harper about her height whenever she couldn't reach something, Harper retaliating by deliberately standing in his way, both of them laughing like idiots. "You two are disgusting," Rachel announced, but she was smiling. "Also, Liam, you're officially hired for all future wedding emergencies." "What's my rate?" "Keeping my best friend this happy." Rachel hugged Harper quickly. "Now get out of here before I put you to work on the Thompson anniversary party." In the car, Harper leaned against Liam's shoulder. "Thank you for tonight." "Any time." He kissed the top of her head. "That's what partners do, right? Show up for each other." Partners. Harper liked the sound of that. Her phone buzzed. A text from Maya. "Boss, we have a problem. The tile supplier for the hotel spa backed out. We need replacement options by Monday or we're behind schedule." Harper sighed. "The hotel." "I know, Monday's problem." Liam squeezed her hand. "Tonight, let me take you home and prove to you again that romance is real." "How are you planning to do that?" He pulled into her apartment complex, turned off the car, and looked at her with such open affection that Harper's breath caught. "By being here. With you. Making absolutely terrible jokes and probably ordering too much Thai food and falling asleep watching whatever documentary you pick." He tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "Romance isn't always grand gestures, Harper. Sometimes it's just showing up, consistently, choosing to be present." Harper kissed him, soft and sweet, and full of everything she didn't have words for yet. "That's a pretty good argument," she murmured against his lips. "I have a lot more where that came from." They made it upstairs, ordered too much Thai food and fell asleep halfway through a documentary on architectural design, wrapped around each other on her couch. And if Harper dreamed about wedding seating charts and hotel lobbies, and a tall man with hazel eyes who carried her around like she weighed nothing, well, maybe romance wasn't so impractical after all. The tile crisis turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Harper spent Monday morning frantically calling suppliers, Liam beside her making calls to his own contacts. By noon, they'd found a local artisan who could create custom tiles at a better price than the original supplier. "See?" Liam said, hanging up his phone triumphantly. "Crisis averted through teamwork. You have unfair advantages. Suppliers actually return your calls. They return yours too, eventually." He spun her desk chair around to face him. "Speaking of advantages, I need to ask you something." Harper's stomach flipped at his serious tone. "Okay? Come to the London opening with me. Next month. 3 days, all expenses paid. Plus you'd get to see the hotel you inspired." "I inspired?" "Every design choice I made there was because of something you said, some way you see spaces." He crouched down so they were eye level. "I want you there, as my girlfriend, my partner. My date to a very fancy party, where I'll have to wear a tuxedo and you'll have to wear a dress that'll make me forget how to speak." Harper laughed. "That's a lot of pressure on a dress. You could wear a paper bag and I'd forget how to speak." "Smooth. It's true." He caught her hands. "Say yes. Come with me." Harper wanted to. God, she wanted to. London with Liam, seeing his work, being part of his world. "I have the Peterson project that week. The timeline's already tight, and if I leave, bring work, I'll give you a quiet space. Hell, I'll give you an entire office." He was pleading now. "Harper, I want you there. Please." Before Harper could answer, Maya burst in. "Boss, we have a situation. The Peterson bride wants to move up the wedding by 2 weeks." She what? Family emergency. Her grandmother's health. They want the ceremony sooner. Maya looked apologetic. Which means we need to finish the venue design by next Friday instead of the end of the month. Harper's heart sank. Next Friday was 3 days before the London trip. Liam read her expression and slowly stood. It's fine. Liam, no, really, family emergency. That's important. But his voice was tight. I should let you work. He left before Harper could explain that she hadn't actually said no yet. I'm sorry, Maya said quietly. I didn't know he'd asked you to London. It's not your fault. Harper stared at her calendar, doing mental calculations. If she worked late every night, delegated some tasks to Maya, maybe brought in a contractor for the floral arrangements. Her phone buzzed. Rachel, can you meet for lunch? We need to discuss the quarterly budget. Harper wanted to scream. But that evening, Harper showed up at Liam's penthouse unannounced. His assistant Marcus looked surprised but waved her through. She found Liam on his balcony, staring at the city lights, a glass of wine in hand. Hey, she said softly. He turned, surprise flickering across his face. Harper, I thought you'd be working late. I was. I am. I'm taking a break to do something important. She moved to stand beside him. I'm sorry about this afternoon. You don't need to apologize. Your clients need you. You need me too. He was quiet for a long moment. I want to say the right thing here. That I'm patient, that I understand work comes first sometimes, and I do understand, but Harper, he finally looked at her, I'm starting to feel like I'm always going to come second to your business. The words hit like a physical blow. That's not fair, isn't it? Every time I ask you to do something that doesn't involve the hotel or your other projects, something comes up. We've rescheduled 4 dates in the past 2 weeks. I can't remember the last time we had an entire evening together that didn't involve a work emergency. I'm building a business. I know, and I'm proud of you, but I'm also building something with you. Or trying to. He set down his wine glass. I'm not asking you to choose between me and your career. I'm asking you to make space for both. Harper felt tears burning. I don't know how. Jason said I was too complicated, too focused on work, that I couldn't balance a relationship. And maybe he was right. Jason was an idiot who didn't appreciate what he had. Liam pulled her close. But Harper, you can't use him as an excuse to never let anyone in, to never prioritize a relationship. I'm trying. I know you are. But trying isn't the same as doing. He cupped her face gently. I love you. I'm completely, stupidly in love with you. But I need to know that you love me too. Not just in theory, in practice, with actions, not just words. Harper's heart stopped. You love me. Of course I love you. I've been falling for you since you tried to convince me your teenage crush was research. He smiled softly. The question is, do you love me? Did she? Harper thought about the past months, about coffee and laughter and stolen kisses, about how her first thought every morning was whether she'd see him, about how nothing felt right when they were apart. Yes, she whispered. I love you. I'm terrified and I'll probably mess this up 100 more times, but I love you. He kissed her then, deep and thorough, and Harper felt something shift inside her chest. Something that felt like puzzle pieces finally clicking into place. When they broke apart, she said, I'll figure out the Peterson wedding, I'll delegate, I'll work overtime, I'll clone myself if necessary, but I'm coming to London with you. Harper, if it's too much, it's not. You're not. She held his face in her hands. You asked me to make space for both, and you're right, so I'm going to try. Actually try, not just say I'm trying. His smile was brilliant. Yeah? Yeah. Although fair warning, if you put me in a dress that makes you forget how to speak, I'm holding you responsible when you trip over your own feet at the fancy party. He laughed, pulling her inside. Deal. Now, have you eaten? No. Thai food? Always. They ordered too much food again, Harper explaining the Peterson wedding logistics, while Liam offered solutions with the casual competence of someone who'd managed a dozen hotel openings. You're really good at this, Harper observed. Problem solving. It's kind of my job. No, I mean, being supportive, patient, even when I'm driving you crazy. He pulled her onto his lap, his favorite position for serious conversations. Harper, you're worth being patient for, worth waiting for. But I also need you to meet me halfway. I will, I promise. Good. Because I have plans for us that involve significantly more than just working together on hotels. Oh? What kind of plans? The kind where you stop thinking romance is impractical. He kissed her nose. The kind where we build something together. Not just beautiful hotels, but a beautiful life. Harper's eyes filled with tears. That's really romantic. I know. I'm excellent at romance. You're the one who needed convincing. She laughed, kissing him thoroughly. Consider me convinced. They fell asleep on his couch again, wrapped around each other, Thai food containers forgotten on the coffee table. And when Harper woke at 2 a.m. to Liam carrying her to his bedroom, because apparently even asleep he couldn't resist moving her around, she didn't protest. She just held on tighter and let herself believe in the fairy tale. Harper kept her promise. She delegated the Peterson floral arrangements to a trusted contractor. She worked until midnight 3 nights in a row. She had Maya handle client calls while she finalized designs. And somehow, impossibly, they finished the Peterson wedding venue with 2 days to spare. I don't know how you did it, Rachel said, looking at the completed space in awe. This is beautiful. Desperation and excellent assistance. Harper high-fived Maya, who'd been an absolute lifesaver. And a hot boyfriend who brings stress relief coffee at strategic times, Maya added with a grin. It was true. Liam had appeared every evening with dinner, helped move furniture without being asked, and once physically carried Harper away from her desk at 2 a.m. because even workaholics need sleep. Now standing in her apartment with a suitcase open on her bed, Harper was having second thoughts. What if I packed wrong? She asked Rachel via video call. What do you even wear to a luxury hotel opening in London? Whatever Liam picked out for you, probably. Harper looked at the dress hanging in her closet, a gift that had arrived yesterday with a note. For the woman who thinks romance is impractical. Wear this and watch me prove you wrong. L. It was stunning. Deep emerald green that would bring out her eyes. Elegant without being fussy. The kind of dress that made her feel like someone who belonged in fancy hotel ballrooms. He has good taste, Rachel observed. He has expensive taste. This dress probably costs more than my car payment. Then you better wear it and knock him dead. Rachel smiled. Harper, I'm proud of you, for making this work, for choosing both your career and your relationship. I'm still terrified I'll mess it up. You will, multiple times. That's what relationships are, constant messing up and figuring it out together. Rachel's expression softened. But he's worth it, isn't he? Harper thought about Liam's laugh, his patience, the way he looked at her like she was the answer to questions he'd been asking his whole life. Yeah, she said softly. He really is. The London hotel was magnificent. Harper stood in the lobby, craning her neck to see the chandelier that echoed the one they'd installed at the Grandview, and felt tears prick her eyes. You really did use my designs, she whispered. Liam appeared beside her, slipping an arm around her waist. I told you, everything here is because of you, your vision, your ability to make spaces feel like love stories. He kissed her temple. Come see the penthouse. The penthouse suite took her breath away. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Thames, flowing silk curtains in shades of cream and gold, every detail chosen with the same care she'd put into the Grandview. Liam. She turned to find him watching her with an expression that made her heart skip. This is incredible. You're incredible. He moved closer, backing her gently against the window. Do you know what you've done to me, Harper Reed? Driven you crazy with my work schedule? He laughed, fingers threading through her hair. Made me believe in partnerships. Made me want to build a life with someone, not just hotels. His thumb brushed her lower lip. Made me fall completely, stupidly in love. Harper's breath caught. I love you too. Even though you're impossible and you insist on carrying me around like luggage. Precious cargo, he corrected, then kissed her with enough heat to make her forget her own name. Someone cleared their throat. They broke apart to find Marcus standing in the doorway, looking apologetic but amused. Sir, the event coordinator needs final approval on the seating chart. Also, Victoria is here and asking for you. Liam groaned against Harper's shoulder. Tell her I'm busy. I did, she said, and I quote, tell him to stop making out with his decorator and come do his job. Harper laughed, despite herself. She's not wrong. She's absolutely wrong. This is much more important than seating charts. But Liam was already straightening his shirt, pressing one more quick kiss to Harper's lips. Give me 30 minutes. Then you're mine for the rest of the evening. Promise? Promise. He squeezed her hand and left with Marcus. Harper took the opportunity to unpack, hanging the green dress carefully. She was arranging her design portfolio when her phone rang. Maya. Boss. Emergency. The bride for the Chen wedding saw the Peterson venue and now wants us to redesign her entire ceremony. She's threatening to cancel if we don't. Harper's stomach dropped. The Chen wedding was in 2 weeks. A complete redesign would take... Maya, I can't. I'm in London. I know, but she specifically wants you. Says she hired your company for your vision, not mine. Maya sounded miserable. Rachel's trying to talk her down, but I don't think it's working. Harper looked at the window, at London spread out before her, at the beautiful suite that Liam had designed, thinking of her. She looked at her suitcase, still half unpacked. She thought about Liam's words. I need to know that you love me in practice, not just theory. Tell the Chen bride that I'll video call her tomorrow morning my time, evening hers. We'll discuss modifications, but I'm not flying back early. Harper's voice was firm. And Maya? Start looking at our current design. I bet we can adapt it with strategic changes instead of a complete overhaul. You're not coming back? I'm not coming back. This is important to Liam, and it's important to me. We'll figure out the Chen wedding remotely. After hanging up, Harper felt both terrified and proud. She'd just chosen Liam over work, actually chosen him. It felt good. Scary, but good. She changed into the green dress, did her makeup carefully, and was attempting to reach the clasp at the back when Liam returned. Let me, he said softly, and she felt his fingers, warm and sure, fastening the clasp. But he didn't step back. Instead, his hands settled on her waist, his lips brushing her shoulder. You're breathtaking. Harper turned in his arms, tilting her head back to meet his eyes. You clean up pretty well yourself. He was in a tuxedo, and Harper had been right. It made him somehow even more attractive. Tall and broad and impossibly handsome, looking at her like she was the only woman in the world. Ready for the party? He asked. Ready to watch you forget how to speak? He laughed. That happened the moment you walked out of the bedroom. His expression grew serious. Harper, thank you for being here. I know it was complicated with work. I'm where I want to be. She straightened his bow tie. And for the record, I just turned down a client emergency to stay, so you better make this party worth it. His smile was brilliant. Challenge accepted. The party was everything Liam had promised. Elegant, sophisticated, full of important people making important deals. Victoria held court in one corner, charming investors. Marcus managed logistics with impressive efficiency, and Liam never left Harper's side. He introduced her as my girlfriend, the brilliant designer who inspired this entire hotel. He brought her champagne. He kept his hand at the small of her back, protective and possessive. When a photographer asked for a photo, Liam pulled Harper close, and she felt him grin against her temple as the camera flashed. What? She asked. Just remembering when you thought romance was biology and proximity. I've been convinced otherwise. Good. He spun her onto the dance floor as a slow song started. Because I have big plans for convincing you of a lot more things. Like what? Like moving in together, getting a dog, someday eventually making you Mrs. Ashford. He said it casually, but his eyes were intense on hers. Harper's heart did that stupid, fluttering thing. That's a lot of convincing. I'm patient and persistent. Remember, she stood on her toes, well, as much as she could in heels, and kissed him right there on the dance floor. I remember. They danced for hours, talked with investors and architects, celebrated the hotel's success. And when the party finally wound down, Liam took Harper's hand. Come with me, I want to show you something. He led her to the rooftop, where London glittered beneath them like scattered stars. This, he gestured to the view, to the hotel, to the space they'd created together, is what we can build. Not just hotels, not just businesses, a life, a partnership, something real and lasting and worth every complication. Harper looked at the city, at the beautiful hotel, at the man who'd proven to her that romance wasn't just design theory. I'm all in, she said firmly, completely, terrifyingly, all in. He pulled her close and Harper rested her head against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Good, he murmured into her hair, because I'm never letting you go. And standing there on a London rooftop, wrapped in Liam's arms with the city sparkling below, Harper finally understood. Romance wasn't impractical at all. It was the most practical thing in the world. They returned from London to chaos. The Grandview opening was in 3 weeks. The Chen wedding needed modifications. A new client wanted a rush job on a corporate event, and apparently, in Harper's absence, Maya had accidentally ordered the wrong shade of ivory for the hotel's table linens. "Define wrong shade," Harper said, staring at the samples. "Eggshell instead of cream?" Maya looked miserable. "I know they look the same, but they're completely different." Harper rubbed her temples. "Okay, we can fix this. Rush order on the correct linens, offer the eggshell ones to the Morrison event, they wanted ivory anyway. And..." Strong hands settled on her shoulders, massaging gently. "Breathe," Liam's voice said near her ear. Harper leaned back against him. "I can't breathe. I have 17 problems and only 3 weeks to solve them. Then delegate. That's why you have Maya and Rachel and an entire team." He turned her chair around to face him. "And me. Use me. You have your own hotel to run. I also have excellent staff who handle things when I'm distracted by my beautiful girlfriend's panic spiraling." He crouched down to her eye level. "Give me a task. Anything. Let me help." Harper wanted to argue that she could handle it alone. That was what she'd always done. Handled everything herself because asking for help meant admitting weakness. But Liam wasn't Jason. He wasn't going to call her complicated or difficult. He was offering to be her partner. "The table linens," she said finally. "Can you sweet-talk the supplier into rush delivery?" "Already on it. Marcus is calling them as we speak." He stood, pulling her up with him. "What else?" "The Chen wedding needs a video consultation. Scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. your time. Rachel set it up. The Morrison event needs flowers. Maya's already contacted 3 florists." Harper stared at him. "How did you—" "I pay attention." He kissed her forehead. "And I asked Rachel for the crisis list while you were in the bathroom having your panic attack." "I wasn't having a panic attack. You were absolutely having a panic attack. You do this thing where you bite your lip and your hands shake and you start making lists in your head." He caught her trembling hands in his. "I'm learning your tells, Harper Reed." She felt tears threatening. "I'm not used to people actually helping. Get used to it. You're stuck with me now." He pulled her close and Harper let herself lean into him. "Besides, the faster we solve your crises, the faster I get you all to myself. Selfish motivations." Harper laughed wetly against his chest. "Thank you. Any time. Now, have you eaten today?" "I had coffee." "Coffee isn't food." He was already pulling out his phone. "I'm ordering lunch. You're eating. Then we're tackling this list together." Fair cinemas. Over the next 2 weeks, they fell into a rhythm that somehow worked, despite being completely chaotic. Harper would arrive at the Grandview at 6 a.m. to beat the construction crews. Liam would show up at 6:30 with coffee and breakfast. They'd work side by side until lunch, then Harper would handle client calls while Liam dealt with hotel logistics. Evening would find them either at her office finishing designs or his penthouse reviewing vendor contracts, usually ending with takeout and falling asleep tangled together on whatever horizontal surface was available. "We're really bad at the whole dating thing," Harper observed one evening, lying with her head on Liam's lap while he reviewed paperwork and absently played with her hair. "What do you mean?" "Normal couples go to movies, have romantic dinners, do things that don't involve spreadsheets and fabric samples. Normal couples are boring." He set aside his papers to give her his full attention. "I like our version better, working together, building things together, falling asleep on uncomfortable furniture together. Very romantic, extremely romantic. Yesterday I carried you to bed at 2 a.m. because you fell asleep on a pile of curtain samples. That's romance." Harper sat up to face him. "That's you treating me like a child. That's me taking care of someone I love who works too hard and forgets to rest." He pulled her onto his lap, his favorite position for conversations. "Although I maintain that you're light as a feather and I enjoy carrying you. You just like showing off." "Maybe." He grinned unrepentantly. "But you like it too. Don't deny it." Harper bit her lip, fighting a smile. "It's not terrible. Not terrible. Such high praise." He kissed her nose. "Admit you love when I pick you up." "I absolutely do not." He stood in one fluid motion, taking her with him, Harper squeaking in surprise as he spun them around. "Liam Ashford, put me down." "Admit it first." "Never." "Then I guess I'm carrying you everywhere tonight." He was laughing now, heading toward his bedroom with Harper in his arms. "You're impossible, and you love it." He set her down on his bed gently, leaning over her with a smile that made her stomach flip. "Say it." Harper looked up at him. This impossible, wonderful man who'd proven romance was real, who showed up for her every day, who made her believe in fairy tales. "Fine. I love it," she admitted softly. "I love when you carry me around. I love your height. I love standing on my toes to kiss you. I love everything about this ridiculous height difference." His smile was brilliant. Finally. Was that so hard? Terrible. Absolutely humiliating. He kissed her thoroughly, and Harper forgot why she'd ever pretended to be annoyed. 1 week before the Grandview opening, disaster struck. Harper was in the presidential suite making final adjustments when she got the call from Rachel. "The eggshell linens, the ones we redirected to Morrison? What about them?" "They're the right color. The cream linens we rush-ordered for the Grandview. Those are the wrong ones." Harper's blood went cold. "What?" "Maya mixed up the orders. The Grandview has eggshell linens arriving tomorrow and the Morrison event has cream linens." Rachel's voice was tight. "And both clients have already approved their setups. Can we swap them? Morrison event is tonight. Linens are already on the tables, Harper. If we pull them now, we'll lose the client and probably get sued for breach of contract." Harper sat down heavily. Okay. The Grandview uses the eggshell linens. We make it work. They're the wrong shade. Then we adjust everything else. The napkins, the centerpieces, the lighting. We make eggshell work with the overall design. In 1 week? In 1 week. Harper was already pulling up designs on her tablet. "Get Maya. Get our entire team. We're redesigning the Grandview dining room." After hanging up, Harper let herself have exactly 30 seconds of panic. Then she called Liam. He answered immediately. "Hey, beautiful. I was just thinking about... I need you." His tone changed instantly. What happened? She explained the linen disaster, her voice tight with stress. "I know the opening is your big moment, and I've completely screwed up." "Stop. First, you didn't screw up. Maya made an honest mistake. Second, we'll fix it. Together." She heard papers rustling. "I'm coming to you." "Where are you?" "Presidential suite." "Don't move." "And Harper?" "Yeah?" "We've got this. Trust me." He arrived 10 minutes later, Marcus in tow with fabric samples and lighting catalogs. "Okay," Liam said, spreading everything across the floor. "Show me what we're working with." For the next 8 hours, they redesigned the entire Grandview dining experience around eggshell linens. They adjusted napkin colors, changed centerpiece designs, modified the lighting to make eggshell look intentional instead of accidental. Maya worked on new florals. Marcus coordinated with vendors. Rachel handled panicked client calls. And Liam stayed beside Harper through all of it, offering suggestions, making calls, and occasionally physically moving her when she got too fixated on one problem. "Eat," he ordered at midnight, shoving a sandwich into her hands. "I need to finish." "You need to eat, then sleep. This will still be here tomorrow." "Liam," he cupped her face gently. "Harper, you're exhausted. Your hands are shaking. You've been working for 19 hours straight. Please." "Rest," she wanted to argue, but she was so tired and he was looking at her with such concern. "Okay," she whispered, "but just a few hours." He carried her to his car, because of course he did, and drove her to his penthouse. She tried to protest that she needed to go home, but he just shook his head. "You're staying with me, where I can make sure you actually sleep." In his bedroom, he helped her out of her work clothes with gentle efficiency, pulled one of his t-shirts over her head, and tucked her into bed. "I've got you," he murmured, climbing in beside her and pulling her against his chest. "Rest. I'll wake you in a few hours." Harper wanted to stay awake, to plan more solutions, to fix everything, but wrapped in Liam's arms, feeling his steady heartbeat against her back, she felt safe enough to let go. "Thank you," she whispered. "Always," he said, pressing a kiss to her hair. "I'll always catch you when you fall, Harper. That's what love is." She fell asleep thinking that maybe, just maybe, she'd finally found someone who wouldn't leave when things got complicated. Someone who'd stay and help her solve problems at midnight. Someone who loved her exactly as she was. The morning of the Grandview opening, Harper woke to find Liam already up, standing by the window with coffee. "You're supposed to be sleeping," she mumbled, sitting up. He turned, and the smile he gave her made her breath catch. Too excited. Today's the day everything we've built together finally comes to life. Harper joined him at the window, and he wrapped an arm around her, pulling her close. The hotel stood below them, lights glowing warm against the dawn sky. Nervous? He asked. Terrified. What if the eggshell linens look wrong? What if people hate the design? What if... Harper. He turned her to face him, hands on her shoulders. It's going to be perfect, you know why? Why? Because you made it. And everything you create is beautiful. He kissed her forehead. Now get dressed. We have a hotel to open. The day was a blur of final preparations. Harper directed her team through last-minute adjustments. Liam charmed early-arriving VIPs. Maya handled a flower crisis. Marcus coordinated vendors with military precision. At 4 p.m., Harper stood in the lobby and felt her heart swell with pride. The chandelier sparkled overhead. The curtains flowed perfectly in the breeze from the ocean. Every detail, every choice, every carefully considered element came together in a symphony of design. It's perfect, Rachel said beside her, eyes misty. Harper, this is your masterpiece. Our masterpiece. Harper squeezed her hand. I couldn't have done this without you, or without your impossible millionaire boyfriend who's been staring at you for the past 5 minutes like you hung the moon. Harper turned to find Liam watching her from across the lobby, and the expression on his face made her chest tight with emotion. He crossed to her, ignoring everyone else in the space. Can I steal you for a moment? The opening starts in an hour. 5 minutes. Please. He led her to the presidential suite, the space where they'd had their first almost kiss, where he'd caught her from falling, where everything had begun. Liam, what? I need to tell you something before this evening gets crazy and I lose my nerve. He took her hands and Harper noticed they were trembling slightly. That first day when your magazine clipping fell out of your bag, I thought it was the most adorable thing I'd ever seen. This brilliant, confident woman getting all flustered because she'd kept a teenage crush memento. Harper felt her cheeks burn. Liam, let me finish. He smiled. I hired you because you challenged me, because you looked me in the eye and told me romance was nonsense, because I wanted to prove you wrong. But Harper, somewhere along the way, it stopped being about proving a point. It became about you, about us, about building something real. I know. I feel the same. I'm not finished. He was grinning now. You drive me crazy. You work too hard, you forget to eat, you trip over flat surfaces. You're stubborn and practical, and you argued with me about emotional architecture for 3 weeks straight. Is there a point to this? The point is I love all of it. I love carrying you around even though you protest. I love bringing you coffee. I love how you bite your lip when you're concentrating. I love that you kept my magazine clipping for 13 years. I love everything about you. Harper's eyes filled with tears. I love you too, even though you're impossible and stubborn and... He kissed her, cutting off her words, pouring everything into it. Weeks of tension and laughter, and late-night work sessions and falling asleep tangled together. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. Tonight, after the opening, after all the VIPs leave and the celebration winds down, I want you all to myself. No work emergencies, no client calls. Just us. Liam, I mean it, Harper. I want to celebrate properly, with you. Only you. The heat in his eyes made her shiver. Say yes. She should probably think about it. Consider the implications. Be practical. Instead, she stood on her toes and kissed him with every ounce of feeling she had. Yes. The opening was a spectacular success. VIPs raved about the design. The mayor gave a speech praising the hotel's elegance. Even the notoriously critical architecture journalist from the Times called it a masterpiece of romantic design. Harper stood beside Liam, his arm around her waist, as guest after guest complimented their work. This is all Harper, Liam kept saying. Every detail, every choice, this is her vision. Around 10 p.m., as the party began to wind down, Victoria approached them with champagne. Congratulations. The hotel is stunning. She looked at Harper approvingly. You've done something remarkable here. Thank you. Also, I wanted to apologize for being territorial when we first met. I thought I wanted Liam back. Turns out, I just wanted him happy. She clinked her glass against Harper's. And he's clearly deliriously happy with you. After Victoria left, Harper turned to Liam. She wanted you back? Ancient history. I was never interested. He pulled her closer. I was too busy being fascinated by a decorator who thought romance was biology. Past tense. Definitely past tense. Present tense, Harper knows romance is real. Future tense Harper is going to let me prove it to her extensively. Harper laughed, but her stomach fluttered with nerves and anticipation. The party's almost over. Good. His voice dropped lower, intimate. I've been counting down the minutes. They stayed until the last guest left, until Marcus shooed away the final vendors, until Mr. Henderson, the hotel manager, announced everything was secure for the night. Then Liam took Harper's hand and led her to the penthouse suite. The city glowed beyond the windows. Music played softly from somewhere. Liam had somehow arranged for champagne and strawberries, for candles that cast soft light across the room. You planned this, Harper said, moved beyond words. I wanted our first time to be perfect, romantic. Everything you've spent months claiming doesn't exist. He pulled her close, hands settling on her waist. Was I too presumptuous? No. She reached up to cup his face. You were perfect. You're always perfect. I'm really not. You are to me. She kissed him softly. You've been patient and kind, and you've shown up for me every single day. You've proven that romance isn't just design theory. It's real. And it's us. He kissed her back deeper this time, and Harper felt heat bloom through her entire body. His hands moved to her zipper, and she helped him, suddenly desperate to be closer. You're sure? He murmured against her lips. Completely sure. I love you, Liam. I'm all in, remember? I remember. He lifted her easily because of course he did, carrying her to the bed. I love you too. So much it scares me sometimes. Don't be scared. She pulled him down to her. We've got this. Together. What followed was tender and passionate, and everything Harper had never let herself hope for. Liam touched her like she was precious, like he wanted to memorize every inch of her. He whispered how beautiful she was, how long he'd wanted this, how perfect she felt in his arms. Harper had always thought physical intimacy was just biology, hormones and proximity creating temporary connection. But this was different. This was choosing each other. This was trust and vulnerability, and love made tangible. This was everything. Afterward, wrapped in sheets and each other, Harper rested her head on Liam's chest, listening to his heartbeat slow. So, he said, running his fingers through her hair. Still think romance is impractical? She laughed, tilting her face up to kiss his jaw. I think I've been thoroughly proven wrong. Good. Because I have a lot more proving to do. Years and years of it. Years? At least, possibly a lifetime. He rolled them over so he could look down at her. Harper Reed, I'm going to marry you someday, just so you know. Her heart swelled until she thought it might burst. That's very presumptuous. That's very true. He kissed her nose. But I'm patient. I'll wait until you're ready. I'm ready now, she heard herself say. He went still. What? Not right now, obviously. But soon. Soonish. Eventually. She was babbling now. I just mean I don't want to wait years for something I already know I want. I want to build a life with you. I want to wake up next to you every morning. I want... He kissed her, cutting off her rambling, and when he pulled back, his smile was brilliant. Soonish works for me. They fell asleep, tangled together, the hotel they'd built as a couple standing sentinel outside their window, proof that romance wasn't just possible. It was real. 6 months after the Grandview opening, on a random Tuesday afternoon, Liam appeared at Harper's office looking suspiciously nervous. What's wrong? Harper looked up from her design boards. Is it the London hotel? The investors? Nothing's wrong. He closed the door behind him. Actually, everything's perfect, which is why I need to do this before I lose my nerve. Do what? He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket and dropped to one knee. Harper's design pencil clattered to the floor. Harper Elizabeth Reed, Liam said, his voice only slightly shaky. I've loved you since the moment a magazine clipping fell out of your bag and you turned bright red trying to explain it. I've loved you through tile crises and linen disasters and approximately 17 work emergencies. I love how you bite your lip when you're concentrating, how you protest when I carry you around but secretly love it, how you've learned to believe in romance again. Harper was crying now, hands over her mouth. I want to build hotels with you and a life with you and a family with you. I want to wake up next to you every morning for the rest of my life. So, will you marry me? Yes, Harper managed through tears. Yes, absolutely yes. He slid the ring on her finger, a perfect emerald surrounded by diamonds, the exact green of the dress he'd bought her for London. And then he was standing, lifting her up and spinning her around while she laughed and cried simultaneously. I can't believe you proposed at my office, she said when he finally set her down. "Where else would I propose? This is where you build dreams." Seemed appropriate. He kissed her thoroughly. Plus, I couldn't wait anymore. Soonish became right now. Maya burst in, saw the ring and screamed loud enough to bring Rachel running. "Finally!" Maya was jumping up and down. "I've been waiting for this for months." Rachel hugged them both, crying happy tears. "You two are perfect together." "I know," Liam said, pulling Harper close. "I figured it out the first day. She just took a little convincing." They got married 4 months later, in an intimate ceremony on the Grand Views terrace, surrounded by the hotel they'd built together. Harper wore a simple, elegant dress, cream silk, that flowed like the curtains she'd designed. Liam couldn't take his eyes off her as she walked down the aisle. "You look like a dream," he whispered when she reached him. "You're crying." "I'm not crying. My eyes are just appreciating the view." Harper laughed, taking his hands. "I love you, you impossible man." "I love you too, my practical romantic." Mr. Henderson officiated. He'd become like family during the hotel project. Victoria attended and genuinely cried. Marcus filmed everything. Maya caught the bouquet. When Liam was asked if he took Harper as his wife, he responded, "I do. I have since the magazine clipping fell, and since I discovered she fits perfectly in my arms." The small crowd laughed. Harper rolled her eyes but was smiling through tears. "You're ridiculous," she whispered. "And you love it," he whispered back, then kissed her as everyone cheered. Then their honeymoon was spent touring European hotels for research, which mostly meant making love in luxurious suites and ordering too much room service. "We're terrible at vacationing," Harper observed one morning in Paris, watching Liam sketch hotel redesign ideas. "We're excellent at vacationing. We're just also working." He pulled her onto his lap. "But I can stop working if you want my full attention." She definitely wanted his full attention. 6 months into marriage, they'd settled into comfortable domestic bliss. Harper moved into Liam's penthouse, now their penthouse. They adopted a golden retriever named Blueprint, who loved Liam but worshipped Harper. Work continued to be hectic, but they'd learned to balance it. Date nights were sacred. Sundays were for sleeping in and making breakfast together. They still fell asleep on uncomfortable furniture sometimes, but now it felt like an adventure rather than a problem. "Is this what happiness looks like?" Harper asked one evening, curled up with Liam on their couch, Blueprint snoring at their feet. "This is what happiness looks like," Liam confirmed, kissing her temple. "Though I have some ideas for making it even better." "Oh? Maybe a bigger penthouse, one with a nursery." Harper's heart skipped. "Liam, I'm just saying, someday when you're ready, no pressure." But his hand drifted to her stomach, hopeful. Harper covered his hand with hers, smiling. "Someday soon." 8 months later, Harper woke up feeling nauseous for the 3rd morning in a row. She stared at the pregnancy test in her bathroom, watching the positive result appear, and felt tears stream down her face. She'd thought she wanted this. She'd told Liam she wanted this. But actually seeing the proof made it terrifyingly, wonderfully real. "Harper?" Liam's voice called from the bedroom. "You okay in there?" She opened the door, holding the test tied with a pink ribbon she'd prepared just in case. Liam looked at it, looked at her, and went completely silent for 3 entire seconds. The most talkative man she'd ever met, speechless. Then he crushed her against him, laughing and crying simultaneously. "Seriously? We're having a baby?" "We're having a baby," Harper confirmed, tears soaking his shirt. He pulled back, hands framing her face, kissing her over and over between words. "I love you. So much. You're going to be the most amazing mother. Our baby is so lucky. I'm so lucky. This is—" He stopped, overwhelmed. "I know." She held his face, thumbs brushing away his tears. "I know." He dropped to his knees, pressing his forehead against her still flat stomach. "Hi, baby. Your dad here. I already love you so much, and your mom is incredible, perfect, the best person I know." Harper ran her fingers through his hair, her heart so full it hurt. "We're going to be okay, right?" He looked up at her, eyes shining. "We're going to be better than okay. We're going to be amazing." He stood, pulling her close. "Because we do everything together, remember." "Together," Harper agreed, and kissed him with all the love she'd once thought was impractical nonsense. 3 months later, they stood in a newly decorated nursery. Soft creams and gentle greens, nothing pink or overly themed, perfect and welcoming. "It's beautiful," Liam said, arm around Harper's growing middle. It's practical, Harper corrected, but she was smiling. It's both. Like us. He turned her to face him, hands on her belly. You know, I never thanked you. For what? For keeping that magazine clipping. For showing up even when you were scared. For choosing me. For teaching me that the best romances are the ones built on partnership and trust and showing up every day. Harper's eyes filled with tears. Stupid pregnancy hormones. You taught me that romance is real. We taught each other. He kissed her softly. And we're going to teach our baby too, that love is real and messy and sometimes impractical, but always worth it. Harper looked around their home, at the life they'd built, at the future growing inside her, at the man who'd proven that fairy tales could come true if you found the right person to believe with. Always worth it, she agreed, and as Liam lifted her gently, carrying her toward their bedroom while she laughed and protested that she was perfectly capable of walking, Harper realized something. She'd spent years thinking romance was just architecture, calculated design creating illusions of connection, but she'd been wrong. Romance wasn't architecture, it was foundation, and with Liam, she'd finally built something that would last forever. Leave your comment and share this story with someone special. It truly helps us keep bringing new stories to you. And if you want to follow every chapter of this emotional journey, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Your support makes all the difference.